directors of Kyell Limited, based in Colne in Lancashire, and I'm here today with our chief design engineer at Kyell, who deals with all our new designs, Laura Young. How are you doing, Laura?
I'm alright, thanks.
I wanted to ask you a few questions about design. For example, what are we looking at here behind us, the thing that's making all the noise?
Here at Kyell, we operate a flatbed CNC machine which we use to cut out parts for our furniture, for our educational products. It allows us to cut complex two-dimensional shapes out, and we can then repeat these hundreds of times very accurately. And behind me now, we are just cutting out some silhouettes of starlings.
Starling?
Starlings, yeah.
What's the starlings all about?
Recently we've been approached by some artists who want to make a giant sculpture for the Tour de France.
Oh, right.
And they are going to produce 500 flat white starlings for a 200-metre hillside in Yorkshire. So when the cyclists ride past, they can see a big starling swoop.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it will be.
And how did it all start off? I mean, what did they do first of all? Did they bring you some drawings or finished work or what?
Yeah, they saw our CNC services advertised on our website. So a couple of phone calls and a short meeting here on site. We showed them around, showed them what we could do, and a quick discussion and exchange of ideas, and our team got to work bringing it all to life.
That
And
sounds good.
it's ongoing behind us, as we can see.
Maybe what you should do is start putting the line so that we can...
100 metres, well actually to 95 metres. So what we're going to do is put the rest of these squares in, but we're not going to bother down here because there's nothing there. So if you've got a spare one of them and I can take that.
Is that what this is?
There's one in...
The decision to use recycled plastic came about sort of organically. We had a number of issues that were sort of coming together at once. We're reusing a reclaimed site, which in itself is generating electricity. We're featuring a species which is under attack, the starling. Numbers have declined. And we're using a recycled material, which is in itself 100% recyclable. So we feel that the ethics are all in place, and the rationale for it is that it's a public benefit. So we think there's a complete virtuous circle created by this project, which makes it a really conscionable thing to do.
So we looked at lots of different materials, sort of high density polyethylene, and we've ended up with something called PPC, which is sort of a polypropylene carbonate, and we get it in 1.5 metre by 3 metre sheets, and we cut them out on our CNC machine. Laura was worked then with Jane?
Jane Revit, yeah, she's the artist. She approached me with some sketches, some quick ideas of what she wanted to do, and it was my job to try and get that into a program that we can use to cut them out on the machine. So we worked very closely together to get that into something that she agreed with, something I agreed with, and then something that could be made at the end of it.
I chose starlings. I looked into lots of different birds, swifts, gulls, because it's an old landfill site. I did wonder about, but I thought in the end I really loved the flight formations that starlings make. That was what appealed to me, and also we knew that there'd been sightings of big murmurations of starlings near this site, so that appealed to us.
So how many different sort of sizes and shapes did you end up with?
There was a lot. We did a lot of prototyping as well. I think the final number is 11 different styles, different designs, and they come in small, medium and large. So there's quite a few different sizes and shapes to cut out, and then they can arrange them on the hillside however they want, so it doesn't have a repetitive theme. The main difficulties that we had to face were the size of the birds themselves. Like I said, 2 metres long, it's quite a big thing to cut out and get right, and a lot of things had to be checked while we're cutting them out to check that the path of the machine was going right. And the sheer quantity of how many we've had to do, I think there's about 542 starlings to be cut out.
About 542.
About 542, I think, off the top of my head. And we had to try and get all of them onto the sheets. We've only got 130 sheets to work with. That was the maximum that we could get with their budget. So trying to get as many starlings on the sheet as we possibly could was probably the biggest challenge we faced. Yeah.
The challenge from my point of view as well was actually designing something that worked for them, that used a good quantity of recycled material to fit with the brief, but also have it of the right sorting material in the right thickness, so that we could make it fall within their budget.
Jeff Wood suggested recycled plastic, and to be honest I wasn't sure to start with, but then I became convinced that it was just as the most appropriate thing for this site, both for practicality, for speed, and then it'll hopefully look good. And because it's an old landfill site, using a proportion of recycled plastic within it seems appropriate.
There's about 30% of this recycled, and it's recycled from the process of producing it in the first place. So when these sheets are produced, they're made on almost a great big conveyor belt, a bit like you'd see rolls of paper being made in a mill, but much slower. And they trim off all the edges, and they have quite a lot of wastage from the start of the process. And so that's all recycled sort of back into the manufacturing process. So most of our products, such as this, will be 100% recycled from doorstep collections and milk bottles and paint trays. But this particular project, a little over 30%, I believe.
Really difficult actually moving this from paper onto a
actual
hillside,
yeah.
which is just not flat like this at all, and very steep and difficult ground.
Yeah.
Then the next thing we're going to do is put a big line of quite wide ribbon.
Great. So let's get on there.
Okay.
As a designer, I think the pinnacle of my career would be to design anything I want for anybody I want. And I think here at Kyell I do get to do that. We do so many different customer types, we have so many different fields we work in, and being able to design such a wide range of products is definitely the most satisfying part of the job.
And from my point of view, it's because it's a family company, Kyell. I mean, the name originates from Kyell and Dermot and Lewis, myself and my two brothers. And actually working with your family is quite, I was going to say satisfying. It is satisfying quite a lot of the time, and frustrating at other times. But mostly, it's great to work with your brothers. And it's also quite satisfying to know that, to some small degree, what you're doing is making a difference on quite a few levels, really. One, because we are saving so much from going to landfill, and the fact that we've worked for 4.5 years in recycled plastics, and we've not thrown anything out. We recycle all our waste. It all gets reground up and put back into the manufacturing process. That's a really satisfying story to tell as well.
Is that all right?
That was excellent.
you're interested in taking advantage of Kyell CNC or design services, just give us a call on 01282 861 325 or email design@kyell.co.uk.